Buddy, Kyle with Dirt Bike Channel here. I'm out on my 22 KTM 300 XCW and just left the truck, start of the day here. I want to talk about line selection and front wheel placement. Because so much of what we're doing out on the trails is about what lines we're taking and where we're putting our front wheel. I think too often people make the mistake that they have to steer around everything, you know, because they're worried about like, you know, the bike like losing traction on that front wheel, having it slide out, and then, you know, hitting the ground. And when I think about line selection, I usually think about straight lines are strong. When I start to see, I'm always looking for things where I think, you know, my front tire is going to deflect out from under me, and I avoid those types of things. But I think you'll find as you get going, and if you're standing, especially, and as your riding improves, it's amazing what your front tire can hit without kind of sliding out. You're looking for angles that are sharp angles or acute angles that are going to make your front tire slip out. But also you got to know that so much of having your front tire get over things is about how loaded that front wheel is. And you can unload the front wheel a couple of ways. First way I would say you can unload the front wheel, which everyone talks about or everyone thinks about, is throttle. By giving a little bit of throttle, you can take weight off the front wheel and it will just start to kind of glide over things. You know, that seems pretty self-explanatory. Another way, though, that you can unload the front wheel is by compressing the suspension right before you hit something, and then, you know, the suspension and this is by you bouncing on the bike, bouncing and pushing down through the pegs and through your handlebars, and then as timing it right so that when the front forks start to rebound, it rebounds and the weight is unloaded off that front wheel. That can really help you get through things. The other thing is one other thing is just, you know, knowing straight lines are strong. Like, you don't have to go around everything like this. I'm going to go right through some of these things. You notice I'm on the clutch. I'm in second gear on this bike. A little bit more tighter area right here. Little teeny bit more technical. I'm standing up on the pegs and can't see much through some of this stuff. But I'm just trusting that if I stay on the gas and I keep my momentum up and trust my balance and trust the chassis, that front wheel is actually going to be able to roll over a lot. And for the most part, if you're like, well, what about your rear wheel, Kyle? Well, the rear wheel will follow and roll over more than what the front wheel will. If you can get your front wheel over an obstacle, generally the rear wheel will follow that and will roll over it if you stay, you know, smooth on the throttle and just keep in it. But yeah, I would say, you know, too many people are trying to steer around rocks when they could literally just be hitting them and going right straight over them by just trusting the bike, trusting their balance, and also having like the, you know, enough give in the front forks. I think, you know, some people are maybe riding bikes that have suspension that's set up maybe for like motocross or something where it's really stiff, and if it is, then you're way more susceptible. If your front fork can't give and that tire can't get out of its own way, then you're much more susceptible to having a deflection. But I find that as my riding years increase, my experience increases, I'm steering around less things. I'm letting the front tire hit and roll over things because I am thinking about straight lines and not changing direction so much, if that makes sense. So it takes trust in the bike, the front wheel, your own balance. It takes a lot of things, you know, but we don't have to, like that rock, I didn't have to steer around it. I can just roll right over it, which allows me to keep a little bit more momentum, and momentum is key to riding. Like, momentum is your friend. There's a certain, like, speed kills, yes, and you can't ride beyond your capabilities. You can't ride beyond where you, how far you can see. Like that rock right there, I just kept in it, stayed right on it, and hit it. The ones you have to worry about are the ones that are like loose and around baseball size to cantaloupe size. Anything that's loose, you got to be wary of. And so that's another thing too, as you develop your riding prowess, is you're starting to really pay attention to and notice what rocks are going to move and what rocks are going to stay in place. I'm going to sit down for a little bit of traction here because I know this is super loose. But yeah, as we stand back up now, as we get going, as we progress in our riding, one of the things you're doing is you're learning to identify, grab first again, you're learning to identify what types of things are going to roll and come out of that front tire, like, you know, slip out. Check this out. Oh, I kind of wussed on that. Still. Energy saver. That's that pivot turn. The log was suspended and it was a little bit springy and bouncy, and I didn't quite know how much it was going to bounce me, and so I kind of wussed it. Didn't hit it as hard as I normally would have on the throttle. But yeah, those are some musings this morning as I contemplate line selection. Like that, I just hit that straight, didn't worry about it, stayed in the gas, grab first again, click back up to second, stand back up, this is a fun trail because you're never out of second gear. You're just bouncing between first and second because it's tight enough and technical enough that, like, you don't see third gear. And a bike like this, XCW, is just made for this. This is just money for this type of terrain, this type of trail. Just really made for that. I would still prefer hit first here because I can't see anything. I would still prefer the first gear to be slightly taller. See that? I just powered right through that, knowing that if I keep the bike in the power, I can hit a bunch of stuff that is kind of off kilter and not worry about it, because I knew I could see that none of those things I was about to hit are things that are going to, like, squirt out from my front wheel, if that makes sense. There's a bunch of stuff here that will squirt, So, cognizant of that. Oh. Listen to that bike just lug there in second gear. Grab first now. Oh my gosh, I gotta fix that. There's a freaking branch right there that needs. It jousted me. It was trying to pull me right off the bike. Let's cut that out.